Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast battle report. Today we have 1500 points of Combined Arms Detachment Dark Eldar versus 1500 points from the Blood Angels Codex. We're playing Maelstrom of War mission number 2, Lost Contact. Let's begin. Hello and welcome to the report. After deployment, we have a Land Raider Crusader with 7 Assault Terminators and Mephiston hiding behind this building. 2 5-man combat squads holding the line, one with a plasma cannon, one with a multi-melter, near some Maelstrom objectives. Sanguinary Guard with a Warlord Sanguinary Priest who has a master-crafted chainsword as he is an artisan of war. So, one objective by the fuel dump. Another objective by the bunker entrance. Another objective by the statues of the Imperium. Another objective by the Aquila. Another objective past the fleet of Dark Eldar by the fuel dump. And one last objective by the Administratum building back here. We're playing Contact Lost, so you get Maelstrom missions by the amount of objectives that you hold. The Dark Eldar deployed first and then chose to give the Blood Angels first turn. It is not Night Fight first turn, and there are 2 drop pods that can come in with a small combat squad in each one. We have a Ravager with triple lances, 10-man Cabalites with a blaster in a Splinter Rack Raider, 5 Witches with Haywires and a Venom, 5 Witches with Haywires and a Venom, 4 Grotesques with a Succubus with 2 liquefire guns and scissor hands on an Aberration. This is the other unit of Witches in a Venom, and then I do have a unit of Trueborn with 3 Lances, 10 more Cavalite Warriors, another Ravager on the flank, and a Razorwing Jet Fighter with Lances in reserve. So, with that, it's Blood Angels turn 1. Let's begin. The Blood Angels began their first turn by trying to apply pressure to the Dark Eldar army. Initial shooting was going to be pivotal in the first turn to try and get first blood and put pressure in the center of the board close to all the other objectives on the table. Generating 1 tactical objective for Kingslayer, but in shooting, Land Raider Crusader moved up and split fire, blowing the Raider sky high with his assault cannon, even though the Raider jinked. Explosion putting a hull point on that Raider, the multi-melter forcing the Ravager to jink, but not doing any damage. 4 of the Cavalite Warriors have died, but they did pass their morale save, their pinning test. The jump Goldie guys moved up, and the guys at the back moved to hold Objective 3 for next turn, and a little bit of reshuffling from that combat unit on top of that building. The drop pod did mishap off the table at the start of the turn, but it went back into reserve. We're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 1. The Dark Eldar react to the Blood Angel advance. The key this turn is to focus as much firepower on the Land Raider Crusader. Those Terminators need to be exposed in order to be able to deal with them, or to pin the Land Raider in and force it to move elsewhere. A lot of shooting. I moved up, and every single lance weapon that I could fired into the Land Raider Crusader, only succeeded in putting 1 hull point on it. Then I had 1 unit of Witch's Haywire Grenade, make it lose a hull point, and then they charged in to block the closest exits from the tank, and did not do any hull points with their Haywire Grenade in combat. Other shooting saw this tactical unit lose 2 Marines with the plasma cannon, and this tactical unit start fleeing after losing 3 models from Venom Fire. So we're moving on to turn 2. There's 1 reserve roll to be made for the second drop pod with melter guns, and they show up. So 2 drop pods are arriving this turn. The Blood Angel turn was dictated largely by
the different objectives pulled on the Maelstrom cards, trying to get recon, trying to get as many different objectives as possible, but also trying to negate the amount of firepower that could be brought against the Land Raider Crusader and the Terminators, but forced to move back into a defensive position as well.
Land Raider that was forced into snap shooting moved back and blew the gun off, one of the guns off this Venom, and combined shooting from the drop pods and the Land Raider Crusader killed 3 of the witches that were in the open. They fell back. The tactical marines with the plasmas, the plasma gun overheated and died and killed up to, there's 3 models left and they are falling back as well. The sanguinary guard moved up, but the melters blew the Ravager up and they failed a charge against this raider right here. The Blood Angels have successfully reconned the battlefield. Other shooting was ineffectual. And now we're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 2. Will the Razorwing show up from reserve? It does.
This turn was key. It was the time to pull the trigger on the Dark Eldar attack. I needed to blow the Land Raider up and start dealing with the Terminators before they got thick into the grotesques and started doing damage of their own. It would be a pivotal turn for the Dark Eldar forces in point collection and damage.
Shooting saw one of these Marines die and then pass like 10 to 15 different armor saves. They were awesome. The Trueborn with blasters finally wrecked the Land Raider. Mephiston's unit of Terminators got out, and the Razorwing blasted them with monocyth missiles, killing 3 of the Terminators with 22 armor saves to be made. I moved this Raider up to kind of block the Terminators in, and this Venom moved up to block them in as well. Other shooting saw a couple of Marines die from that unit, and they fell back, but they're going to rally. And in shooting and assault, I killed all the Sanguinary Guard with AP1 liquefier hits and the Succubus with her Archite Glaive, while this Raider here, full of warriors, captured that objective. So I gained Ascendancy for 2 points, I gained Pain in all its forms for 3 points, and Big Game Hunter for killing the Land Raider Crusader. So we're now moving on to Blood Angel turn 3. They have 3 objectives in play.
The Blood Angels try and pull something out of the wreckage. With the Land Raider Crusader down and some of the Terminators already eliminated and the Honor Guard in a pinch, they're now playing catch-up, trying to stop the Dark Eldar from overwhelming them completely.
Mephiston charged in, took a wound from Overwatch, and blew up the Venom. They are not pinned. They took Objective 4 for a point. On this side, the Terminators charged into the Venom and wrecked it, while the 2 Marines blew the Raider up with some melter pistol fire. In combat, the Warlord Sanguinary Priest was annihilated by the Grotesques, but he did go out in a blaze of glory, putting 1 wound on the Flesh Beasts. We're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 3. Let's move along.
This turn acted as a bit of a mop-up turn for the Dark Eldar, being able to pick on the exposed enemy units and bring the total points to a final epic conclusion while taking many slaves back to the dark city of Comora.
The Witches rallied, Blasterborn moved around, combined shooting between Blasterborn and Ravager killed Mephiston. The Witches charged in and annihilated this unit of tactical marines. I also charged the Grotesques into the 4 Terminators that were left after killing 2 with 2 more AP1 liquefy hits, and then the Succubus with her furious charging Archite Glaive murdered the other 2 remaining. The Razorwing moved up here, killed 1 tactical marine, and they fell back almost off the board, while the gunboat with Splinter X shot into the 2 Marines that were left here and blasted them off the table. Giving me another 2 points, 1 for death by 1,000 cuts, 1 by overwhelming firepower, and with only a few models left on the table, the Blood Angels tail it back to the strike cruiser. It was a critical turn, and I'll talk about that more on the tactical corner. But thanks a lot for watching. Mike, any final comments?
If I could take turn 3 back, that would be about it.
Yeah, turn 3, where the Blood Angels were unable to do any damage back and only killed 2 Venoms. And that was all she wrote.
With your 22 hits from your flyer there.
Yeah, the Razor Wing.
AP1.
And the AP1 liquefy guns that were very, very, very handy at the right time against Terminators and against Sanguinary Guard. I couldn't have asked for a better roll on them. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in. This is Skari, your grateful host, on a quest to hit 8,000 subscribers for the YouTube channel by the end of 2015. So, if you'd like, click that little button down there to show me that you can. I appreciate your comments, likes, and shares. Stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. This is Skari, out.
Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. So, Maelstrom of War missions are always quite favourable for a fast-moving army like the Dark Eldar. I was facing the new Blood Angels, I believe for the first time, with my Dark Kin. And it was nice to finally bring a simple Dark Eldar army of a single combined arms detachment. You know, Succubus, Grotesques, Cablite Warriors, some Venoms, some Ravagers, a Razor Wing. It was a very generic Dark Eldar army. Now, facing off against a Blood Angel army that's not really optimized at all. You know, Terminators, a Land Raider Crusader, a couple of drop bods, some tactical units, Honor Guard, a Priest, Mephiston. And the key to this game was going to be dealing as much damage early on as possible. Now, I gave the Blood Angels turn 1 to force the drop pod to come in on turn 1. Luckily for my opponent, it went back into ongoing reserves, and both pods came on the second turn, which was very good for him specifically. But it's always good to remember that when your opponent has things that can dictate the way a battle goes, giving them the first turn to commit to the tabletop can be of great importance, especially when you have an army that can later react to the rest of the game with the speed and mobility of the Dark Eldar. Now, Mephiston would have been more of a problem had he been deployed outside of the Land Raider Crusader. The Blood Angels were very aggressive with the Land Raider early in the game, and I was able to use movement and foot troops like witches to pen the Land Raider in the backfield and force it not to move up to my lines. Now, he could have tank shocked, but that would have prevented models from disembarking, etc., etc. Now, all in all, this was a great game to share the application of overwhelming firepower. Also, that you do not need allies in a Dark Eldar army to make it effective. I've always been a fan of the Grotesques. The 4 Grotesques were just as good as they always are. And the Succubus with its Archite Glaive happened to be quite useful throughout the game. Now, I'm working on a little side project with a brand new band of Eldar Harlequins as well. So, looking forward to bringing them to the tabletop in a future battle report. So stay tuned for that. And last but not least, had in a great time. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think, and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you really like it. This is Skari, and once again, this is a Tactical Corner.